What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations 2018 Innovation Award winner, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. I also co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers and male caregivers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and being part of that team since 2020. We've reached out directly and indirectly to over 400,000 dads, fathers, and male caregivers around the world. And there's another initiative that our team's going to be working on with Dove Men Plus Care. We're going to be announcing it in the next few weeks. I think it's going to be maybe 2 or 3 weeks. And I would love if you'd like to support it. We'll give you some details about it. And we are broadcasting live on May 12th. What a weekend. I mean, your Dr. Vibe guy is okay. I just got to notice Ryan says he won't be able to make it because he had to cover a detailing night's appointment and he won't be able to make the show. So Ryan won't be able to make it. So don't expect him to pop in. He ain't coming. All right. He ain't coming. All right. Getting back. Yeah. What an incredible weekend that I had. And I just want to, do we go from Saturday to last night, or do we go from last night backwards? Let's go from Saturday. So got up early on Saturday morning, took someone to the train station for 10 to 7 in the morning. I am a morning person, so there's no problem. And plus there was less traffic because we all know Dr. Vibe is not a fan of traffic, especially Toronto traffic. And then basically hung out with my dad for about 4.5 hours. And it was his birthday. And we hung out for a bit. And he then was just sitting in his chair in his man cave. He had a man cave long before the term came about. And he just started, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. Should have put it on mute. My apologies. But hey, we're real here. And he just started to reminiscing about his life. Thank God I had my iPad Pro right there. And I pulled it out and I just recorded some of his memories over the last number of years. For his full journey. And it was great because I just asked him questions. I wouldn't put myself on camera, and I just asked him questions, and he just asked him different questions, and he just went on for about 45 minutes. It was amazing. Yeah, it was really, really an amazing moment. And part of me says I should probably put it out there. I'll ask his permission if he would want to put it out there. From that, I went home. If people really want to know what Dr. Vibe does, I don't know. And one of our producers says, amazing day. Yeah, it was amazing. You had to be there. That was, and the wonderful thing at the end of it says, you know what? We got to do some more of this. I said, absolutely. Round 2 is coming, but it was like 45 minutes. Really, really good stuff. Then went home, rested for an hour, and then went to deliver some stuff for a friend in London, Ontario. And I left around, what time was it? Around 4:30-ish. On a good day, it's an hour and a half drive. Well, on Saturday, just getting out of Toronto was the toughest part. It took about 2.5 hours. Hey, no problem. I got there, stayed there for about half an hour, then came right back to Toronto and got back in about 20 to 9. What did I do? I took a shower and went to bed. It was just a long day. Got up yesterday morning. I was attending a virtual class from 8 till about 10:30. Then went, did some stuff. Went out with my dad and mother for dinner. It's her birthday. It was her birthday yesterday. So myself and a few other family members, we went out for dinner, then came back and did Black Canada Talking with Cesar at 5 o'clock till about 6:30. Did a meeting, had to set up a replay for Black Men Can Talk for 8 o'clock, which was just crazy. Then had another meeting. And I said, I'm tired. Took another shower before I go to bed. And usually I don't shower during the evening. And Carolyn's going to be mad at me at this, but I took a late shower and went to bed a little bit later than I usually do. Then I said, before I went to bed, it's Mother's Day. What can I do for mothers on Mother's Day? I said, okay, let's do this. So I went live on IG, Instagram Live, that is, about 11 o'clock last night, because I wanted to share a message for mothers, female caregivers, and ladies who would like to have children but who have not been able to. That's the way I wanted to close my day yesterday. That's the way I wanted to close the weekend. Full weekend. Full weekend. Okay. There's already stuff going on in chat. We'll get to it in just a moment. And then I got up this morning, and there is a men's group that I lead the first Sunday of every month. I don't know if I had spoken about this, but the most recent session that I led was for these men to honor their mothers, because Mother's Day was a few weeks away. And I got a message this morning that I just want to share with you verbally. And it was sent to someone, and then they said to share with me, saying, we honored Vesna on Mother's Day by doing outside cottage cleanup and making her a fabulous barbecue steak dinner with homemade strawberry shortcake. P.S. The inspiration behind this came from Ed's leading the session he led a couple of Saturdays ago. Please reach out to Dr. Vibe and thank him for his poignant message. It was well received and more importantly, acted upon. I was really touched to get that this morning. And then the gentleman who leads this organization, I sent him a message saying, hey, thank you for sharing this. And he said back to me, you're making a difference in the world, my friend. Keep at it. Much love and peace. When I tell you my heart is full this weekend now, getting that first thing in the morning, this is fantastic. And okay, just got a message from one of my producers. Okay, no problem. Okay, we can work with that. That is some of my weekend. And I did get some sleep, but I tell you, one of the things I really enjoy in life is a good shower. And did I have a good shower last night after finishing all that? It was just so amazing. All right. What did everyone do for their weekend? I would love to know. I would love to know. What did you do for your weekend? I know you probably had as good as one as mine, or even better, but if you'd like to share, that would be fantastic. All right. Let's see where most people are watching from this morning. Okay. What I'm going to do, I haven't done this for a little while. Let me just put this up, present. And while we are going into commercial break, and I did make a spelling mistake on the post. On the posts on the different platforms. So my apologies on that. All right, let's do this. Haven't done this for a little while, so I just want everyone who is here so far, just want to know, where are you checking in from today? And I'm just going to put this up on the screen. And you can find out where you're checking in from today, and we're then going to go to break. So there's the map. So if you are watching on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, let me just try something here. I will just make sure the software is doing right this morning. Reset. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to do something really quick because I want to make sure the software is working. So when people type in, they're not saying, Dr. Vibe, you're not showing. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Okay. Bear with me for just a second. Okay. We are good to go. So if you're watching this live on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, in the comment section, type in city, country, or city, probably city and country, or city and state that you're watching this from, because I know we have some Americans in the house, and we can go from there. All right. We'll take this down, and we're going to go to break. And it is the first Monday of the month, and Carolyn Nicol's with us, and I'm going to have something to share with her before we get right into our conversation today. We are watching The Morning Vibe on May 12th, and we will be right back after I do. And speaking of, this is a bad thing to show today because Carolyn's going to get mad. It's something about eating. And I know Carolyn's going to go, be careful. So here we go.
Vibe Black's Restaurant Week, an amazing week, a flavorful week. We are eating good.
It's a national campaign created to promote Black-owned Canadian cuisine, food trucks, pop-up kitchens, and chefs.
Go out, taste the food, enjoy it, and get to know us and to get to know our culture.
Puts the spotlight on Black-owned dining establishments right across the country, not just here.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It starts today. Vibe Black's Restaurant Week is in the house. And again, go to the website address, vibeblacks.com/restaurant week. Restaurants right across Canada are participating in that event. So make sure you check it out. Let's do some things here. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We are looking now to get to 1,890 subscribers. We're a few away from that. If you've subscribed already, thank you very much. If you haven't subscribed and you're up to it, just do it. And then like the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. Or click on the link that you're showing on your screen to advertise your, business, product or service on our show or any of the platforms that I'm involved with. Email me, dr.vibe@thedrvibeshow.com. And Indie Soup Media, can never forget Dr. Chacha. I was speaking with her last night. And it's an independent content creators platform. It's based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, but it's virtual and been going on for probably around 14 months now, 26,000 subscribers. So there's the link on YouTube. There's the website, just to know that I'm a member of the advisory board and provide a lot of content for that platform. All right. It's hard to do this after just showing Vibe Black's Restaurant Week stuff, but her company is one of the supporters, so I don't feel so bad. And plus, I've got my Energy Shack water bottle here to drink water from because I'm going to the media launch this evening. I'm going to make sure during the day I just a lot of water and a salad, at least during the day. That's all I'm going to be eating, and I'm going to be selective in my eating this evening. But let's bring up, you know what? We have to do this. Comments. Now, we'll find out because I think the producer for the day, he may be having some challenges. So Serena Will says, blessings. The title says, kill that disease. Yes, I did. Yeah, my mistake on the YouTube. So I did make a mistake. Ray McMillan says, good morning, everyone. UK spelling versus US spelling. Canadians use UK spelling, Serena. So I'm not that bad off. Okay. So there's the English versus a United States spelling. Thank you for saving my back, Ray McMillan. Then I guess I'll put it, we'll change it up in the lower third. So is the correct spelling for Canadian, what's the correct Canadian or UK spelling? That's what I'd like to know. Serena Will says, good morning. Me and my son took a nice long walk on Saturday. It felt good for it just to be the two of us, mother and son walk. Love it. And Serena Wills goes, oh, well, Ray McMillan's here from Jacksonville, Florida. And Serena Wills says, all of that looked delicious. Yeah. Serena, we got to get you up here one of these days. We got to get you and Dr. Thatcher, get a posse of you up here one day to check it out. Okay. What is the correct spelling? I'm having a little bit of mental debate. I want to prevent putting the wrong spelling. I want the UK spelling of this, not the American spelling. Sorry to tell you. All right. I would just say celiac in the title, as well as it's an international audience. Okay. Serena Wills, you got it. Okay. You got it. Well, it's about that time. Okay. I got some stuff here. Overcover. Okay. Okay. Are you ready, Carolyn? The smile is there. That means get ready, get ready. She's in the house. Colin Nicol has to unmute herself because I can't unmute her. I don't have that much power. You're still on mute. You got to be unmuted. You
Sorry,
got
my system's a little slow this morning. My system's having a Monday.
How are you?
I'm super. How are you?
Before we go any further, I want to share something with you. A few weeks ago, Carolyn had another great expo on a Sunday, and there's been a number of really deeply emotional things that have been happening to me and through me over the last few weeks. And there was Carolyn up on the stage. There was a bunch of vendors, a few of them that I knew. It was great to see some people I hadn't seen in a long time, like Elemental Notes. I hadn't seen her in a long time, and there with her daughter and her mother.
Right.
And how much Elemental Notes and her mother resemble each other. Like they're just like, well, I know who that is, Elemental Notes. You have to tell me, there. My joy was meeting some of your family.
Yeah, they were almost all there.
Yeah, and I know your son was flying around, so I didn't want to interrupt him with his cross earrings. I noticed that.
That's not my son. That's my nephew.
Your nephew. Sorry.
My son wasn't there.
Okay.
That's my nephew. He's a videographer.
He was all over the place. He had so many things covered. I don't know where to start. I guess I'll start with Dad first. And he's a very quiet guy. Low key, and I came up to him and I said, hey, your daughters are amazing. And I said, where my heritage is from, they would tell you, Dad, you've done good. And he had this big smile on his face, and he just went for it. I said, I'm not going to go any further, just leave it at that. Then meeting your mother. And I go, I know who that lady is. I can tell the resemblance. I can tell. And I can't remember this lady. There was a lady and I that were chatting a lot. And we stopped her. She's one of your clients, this lady. I don't remember her name, but she is amazing. And you need to get a video testimonial from her. She was huge. And we stopped your mother and we just blessed your mother. And your mother goes, no, well, I didn't do anything much. I said, no, you're not getting away with that. And we gave her about a 1-minute group hug.
Oh, that's so nice.
And then when I come into place, who do I meet for the first time? One of your daughters, Kiona. And we had such an amazing conversation.
You've never met her in person?
How?
Because she works here.
Yeah, but remember, we're going back when I first spoke with her.
Yeah, okay.
She was in Quebec when I first spoke with her.
Got it.
Right? Okay. And we had such a great conversation. And I will just share. The first time I had a chance to meet your daughter was over a phone, and we were chatting. And we were working on some stuff to help Energy Shack and its clients. And at the end of the conversation, your daughter said, you know what? Can I pray for you? And not everything is rosy all the time for Dr. Vibe. And at that time, and she didn't know I was going through a little bit of a dip. And what your daughter did for me by praying for me, I've never forgotten. I've told many people about it, and I will continue to tell many people about it. And it was so amazing meeting her that day. The only thing I regret about that day, I should have took a picture with your mother at least and your dad, but that'll be another time.
They show up at every event, so
Yes.
you have another chance.
So this is, so if people want to see a true family business, the next time Carolyn has an event, just go to celebrate family and to get better health.
Yeah.
But celebrate family first and then better health. We have some.
Did you meet my older sister? She was upstairs.
Yeah. I met the sisters. I met the sisters.
Yeah,
And all
you're the other one? Okay.
I covered the whole base.
Wow.
I covered the whole base. Got some. So before we go any further, Serena well says, I would just use celiac in the title since it's an international audience. So we got that covered. All right. Ray McMillan goes, the correct UK Canadian spelling is that we're going back and forth on this is Coelick. US spokes spell how things sound. Okay. We're going the grammar check. And then Serena says, I have a feeling I'm going to be doing comments. Okay. Says, I'm supposed to come on the Dr. Vibe show later this month for Lyme disease awareness. Let's touch base. That'll happen. One of your top supporters says hello and says it was a family affair. Absolutely, it was a family affair. Good morning, Fitness IQ Cam. And then such a blessed testimony. Amen. There we go. All right. I'm nervous putting the spelling up because I'm going to get it.
It looks like I've been spelling it wrong for years. We have doctor's notes, and doctors are spelling it wrong. So Ray McMillan, you're the winner. But
okay, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
If you go on. Like even Celiac Toronto doesn't spell it like that.
How do they spell it?
The CE. I'll get it for you here.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No worry. Okay.
Yeah, CELIAC. That's how even Celiac Toronto spells it. So I don't know, English in Canada, unfortunately, we adopt so often the US spelling of things, like favor and flavor and color. Yeah, it's our very poor grammar.
Okay, no problem. How are you doing after all that aerospace I took up?
I'm doing great. I'm doing good. I'm still in Toronto. I am just wrapping things up. We had the expo that I came down for, and then it's Mother's Day this week. So the bakery was just a little busier than it normally
Good.
is. So I thought I'd just stay for that. So
First time.
Next week, I'll be back to Forest Land and see my husband. Hopefully he hasn't forgotten me.
Oh my, I don't think so.
I leave so often. It's so funny. But anyway, when I was dating my husband, I was constantly working at summer camps. I'd go away to Huntsville for 3 months, and then I'd go to British Columbia. Then I'd go to, Welland. And he's like, I should have caught on that you never really stay around. Then I got a job when we got married, and I was traveling all over the U.S. all the time I was leaving. Now we, have this business and moved up north, and I'm just like, hey, honey, I'll be back. He's like, yeah, I'm getting used to it. So,
okay.
26 years later.
Congratulations. Here's another. I think I had mentioned on a previous Morning Vibe this monthly group I lead of men The last time I let it a few Saturdays ago, there was one gentleman there who's been married to the same lady for 64 years.
Wow.
And he still has energy like that. There's, like I said, there's been a lot of moments over the last 2 or 3 weeks that have shifted me. There's a shift going on inside Dr. Vi, because I'm hearing more and more deeply emotional stories of people that are sharing with me, and I'm just going, oh wow. All right, Raymond Milne goes, thanks for sharing that, Dr. Vibe. He also says, Serena, except for the okay, I'm trying. Okay, Serena, except for the US, the rest of the English world uses UK spelling. LOL. She also says, okay, don't beat me up for being American and speaking US English. And Ray goes, LOL, I'm not. Czech, CHECK versus Czech, CHEQUE.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Okay, I'm gonna figure that out, producer. Having a little bit of fun with the producing end of the day, but we will get it done. All right. Celiac, I'm not gonna ask for the spelling, but we're gonna be talking.
I think, yeah. I mean, like I said, myself and everything we do here, we do spell it CELIAC.
Okay.
But I do spell Czech with a Q, and I do spell Coeliac with an O and a U.
Yeah, but there's Czech, like if you're,
U.
okay, like if there's Czech, like you're checking your coat in at an event, that's CHEC.
No, that's CK. But if I'm gonna write a check, I'm using the proper spelling.
Yeah, 100%. All right, let's get down to it. What exactly is celiac disease, and how is it different from gluten intolerance or sensitivity?
Yeah, so when it comes to celiac disease, and by the way, the reason why I chose that for this month is because this is Celiac Awareness Month. I also happen to own a gluten-free bakery where most of our customers are celiac, they have celiac disease. But I think that I really wanted to bring this up because the reality is, okay, just to sort of answer your first question, it's a genetic disposition that is actually linked with type 1 diabetes. So many people that have type 1 diabetes are also have celiac. It's a genetic disposition where your IgA, your part of your immune system, is attacking itself. So it's not getting the right communication signals. But you have to get tested for these specific IgA markers to find out if you have celiac. But many people that don't have those IgA markers are still having celiac symptoms. And that's what I wanted to talk to you about today, because it doesn't matter if you're celiac or not. There's a reason why most of us have become wheat intolerant. But if you have those specific IgA markers, then that means that you are going to have inflammation in your small bowels. You're going to have some inflammation in the colon area, where anytime gluten is present, your immune system says, create an inflammatory response in that area. And then what's going to happen is you're going to have inflammation in the bowels. You will also have the death of... Oh,
something went funny there, but you're back.
Okay. So you will also have death of some of the healthy cells that help your body to absorb nutrients. So it's a real situation where your immune system actually starts killing healthy parts of your body, inflaming tissues because it sees gluten. And that's painful. That means malabsorption. I mean, we can talk about the symptoms of gluten celiac, but what I really wanted to get to the nitty-gritty today is that there is a difference between a non-celiac gluten sensitivity and being celiac. But many of these symptoms that you're getting are similar. And I'm telling you that most of the world has this NCGS disease, which is a non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And why is that? That's what I wanted to talk about.
Okay, you had mentioned something about, is it IgL?
IgA.
What is IgA?
So
Because
it's a
many years ago, that was a grocery store in the Greater Toronto area.
yeah,
So
you're right.
I want clarity on that.
You know what? I would. So your immune system has different markers for allergens and intolerances. Okay. So those are parts of your immune system that can actually be tested. So if you're testing for a specific gluten response, your body is actually going to, your doctor is actually going to look at the IgA cells in your immune system. So with that being said, is that you actually have to have those immunoglobulin A cells responding to a certain test to know that you are celiac. And this is generally passed down through genetics. So a lot of people are finding it, like we have the gluten-free bakery here, and they're saying it's so weird, my child was born with it. It's actually more prevalent in children than it is in adults. 1 in every 132 children have been diagnosed with celiac disease. So it's very prevalent in children. But why has it become more prevalent these days? And many people walk around with celiac diseases and don't actually know. But it's your immunoglobulin A markers. It's an antibody protein that's a part of your immune system that would let a doctor know that, yes, you actually have this. But if your IgA is not present, showing that it is having an effect on the gluten, but you're having all the symptoms, you're not celiac. But there's a reason why you're actually having the celiac symptoms, the bloating every time you have wheat. You're having, inflammation every time you have wheat. You have abrasions or rashes on your skin every time you have wheat. Although those are celiac symptoms, you're getting them, your IgA test proved negative, you have NCGS, which is a non-celiac gluten sensitivity. And that's what I kind of want people to understand today, these symptoms and how the world is actually all becoming gluten intolerant.
Okay. Sereno says, I have a non-gluten sensitivity tolerance. I've been gluten-free for over 12 years now.
Right. So she has NCGS. So this is real, but I'm telling you, it's not just Serena. It's myself. It's you, the whole world. And I'm going to explain why that has happened.
Okay. So you're saying most of us have this gluten thing?
In America.
Or North America?
Yeah, well, yes. Wherever the FDA does not have high levels of restriction on what can or can't be used for pesticides to grow crops.
Oh, so now we're getting deeper now. We're getting deeper. All right. So I think you covered, but I just want to make sure, what are the common symptoms someone with celiac disease might experience? So I think you've shared some of them. Are there any other ones you'd want to provide to us?
Yeah, so you would have like really bad digestion, so bloating, gas, those are the simple ones. You can have diarrhea or constipation because your bowels are literally inflamed. A big one is malabsorption. So, you're eating food, but you're not gaining any weight, or you are very deficient in iron, in B12. You're deficient in your minerals because you can't absorb them. And that's because your body has literally created atrophy. Your body has literally eaten away at the cells that help to absorb the nutrients. You also can have very bad headaches, lots of brain fog, trouble thinking clearly. You notice that also your blood sugar is uncontrollably high. Your pancreas is not producing insulin. And also you can have like dermatitis. So rashes constantly breaking out in different places of your body. So those are some of the symptoms for celiac disease.
Only some of them. Oh my! It sounds like there's a long list. There sounds a long
Well,
list.
you know, the ankle bone's connected to the knee bone. So when your brain is feeling foggy, right, then your energy is going to be low. When you're constipated or having diarrhea, you're like probably having trouble with probiotics now as well. Like, and then if you're having trouble in your intestinal tract, you're 90% or 70% really of your immune system is in your intestinal tract. So now you're catching colds easy. Now you aren't functioning very well. So it leads to other things, but those are the main symptoms.
Okay. So just let's do a reset. We are speaking with Carolyn Nichol, Certified Holistic Nutritionist from the Energy Shack Juice Bar, about celiac. Okay, whatever spelling works for you, family, it works for you. All right. Disease and the Rave of Gluten-Free on the Morning Vibe. And just to make sure we do some things, if you want to get in touch with the Energy Shack Juice Bar, there's the website address, energyshackjuicebar.com, email info@energyshackjuicebar, Instagram, the Energy Shack Juice Bar, Facebook, Energy Shack Juice Bar, and phone number 647-637-6755. And by the way, Carolyn is global, so if you don't want to call long distance, send an email. Send an email. And if you have any questions about physical health for her, email her at info@energyshackjuicebar.com and say you saw her in the Morning Vibe. Also, special offer. If you want a consultation with a nutritionist, $49 instead of $110 when you mention the Morning Vibe or the Dr. Vibe, at email info@energyshackjuicebar. And then there is the site if you want to book a consultation online. Just wanted to cover all those bases. And we also have some comments here. There's a question and a comment. So let me get to the comment first. If I can remember, it was so long ago. Okay, let's just get to the question. Serena Wills says, is being non-celiac gluten sensitive genetic as well?
No, it's not. And that's what we need to understand today, is that the reason, this is Celiac Awareness Month. And so just, as a nutritionist, just wanting to make sure that I'm also playing my role in making sure people understand celiac disease. But this non-celiac gluten sensitivity is not genetic, but we are subject to it. And it's a disease, in my opinion, more than an intolerance, but it has been created because of the lack of regulations, in my opinion, from our FDA.
Okay. And also we have another comment. Serena Will says, it's sad because for many years I was told I had eczema since a child. When I was told by my integrative health doctor to stop eating gluten and took the test, all the rashes went away.
So may I ask Serena a question if she doesn't
Absolutely.
mind? I'd like to know what year she was, like, what year were you born in? I don't know if you want to tell everybody your age, but I'd like to know what year you were a child.
General years. It's just that. Yeah, or maybe the decade, maybe.
Or the decade or something. Was this 1970s or 80s or 90s? Like, when did you, what decade were you noticing this eczema thing? That would be good to know, because there's been a real change basically in the 1970s with the pesticides that we're using on our wheat crops.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that has been the big transition that has created 1975. We're both 1975 kids.
Okay. Well, another reason why you get along so well.
Same age. Yeah, I think we've had this conversation, me and Serena, but yeah, okay. So, and that makes total sense, because.
Don't worry, it's been one of those days. Go ahead.
Okay, that's okay.
Done.
So, in 1972, DDT, which is a very toxic chemical that was used in our pesticides, was banned. Okay. So the industry had to come up with something very quickly to figure out what else they could use. But there was many lawsuits, and eventually DDT was banned in 1972. Glyphosate is what took its place. There wasn't enough testing on glyphosate, and that's what's in the Roundup. Roundup is the pesticides that are sprayed in large quantities on our crops, mostly wheat, corn, and soy, because those are the main crops that are produced in large, massive amounts all over the world. So since glyphosate took off after 1972, again, it's, I mean, I'm not, pro or against vaccine, but when you bring something to the table that hasn't had enough testing, it's really becomes problematic. And that's what happened with glyphosate, because now the World Health Organization treats glyphosate as a carcinogen, and it creates extreme damage to, your flora. It's very harmful to the healthy flora bacterial in the gut. It will injure or kill glyphosate 90% of insects and surrounding herbs, weeds. That sounds like, oh, that's great for, a pesticide. It's going to kill 90% of all the herbs and weeds and insects around it. But what does that really mean for you to consume that in your body? So glyphosate is the chemical that's in Roundup that's no longer, because they can no longer have DDT. And we hear about Monsanto, but Bayer purchased Monsanto.
Yep.
And then there was this huge lawsuit against the damage that glyphosate is causing, but they paid, I think it was around $10 million in this lawsuit against this glyphosate, but we haven't stopped using it. So there's a lawsuit against it. It's a known carcinogen. It's known to damage the good flora bacteria in your gut, and it's known to kill into 90% of herbs, insects, and do that damage within the body. So what's happening is, if you were a bug and you bit the wheat that has the glyphosate, you would literally blow up. So when the wheat goes inside the body, it has these small explosion chemical reactions. And what happens is your intestinal tract has junctions, small little microscopic junctions. And you have these certain parts of your immune system that help with all of these little villi inside your intestinal tract to absorb the nutrients properly, like microscopically. Like if I eat an apple, like that apple's not going in my bloodstream, it's broken down to its molecules of antioxidants and vitamin C. So when those molecules are broken down, those go through the little fingers inside your intestinal tract. The molecules are supposed to go in there and out through the junctions. So when wheat enters the body, because of those explosions, because it's a carcinogen, so it literally breaks things down in your body that are not supposed to be broken down, those junctions open up, okay? Those little finger-like little villi that are all over your intestinal tract helping you to absorb nutrients, those get damaged. And food particles actually leave your intestinal tract rather than the molecules. So when that food particle goes inside the bloodstream, your body naturally senses it as an intruder, and it produces antibodies that fight against those intruders. But guess what, friends? It was just an apple, but and now every time you eat an apple, you react. Because food is in the bloodstream and only molecules are supposed to be in the bloodstream. But every time you have wheat or anything with gluten, your body recognizes that these are the inflammatory responses that happen. So your doctor will test you and you will not have these immunoglobulin A negative towards gluten, but you're having the same symptoms. But the whole world is going to have those symptoms. I mean, Europe and some places in China, believe it or not, have much more strict FDA rules against this glyphosate. So you could eat wheat here and you could eat wheat in Europe, and you actually don't have those reactions. A celiac person would have trouble in both countries because any kind of gluten makes that response. But here we are gluten insensitive, or we are gluten sensitive because of the Roundup that is actually full of glyphosate. And now they have genetically modified the wheat, the soy, and the corn kernel so that the pesticides grow within it. The glyphosate is now inside it. So they have to use less Roundup on the outside, which means saving money for the farmers.
Family, you see why we have Carolyn on, and now when she's in, she is in, family, and we haven't even really started the comment. We're just on the appetizer, but let's catch up on some comments because there's a pile of them. The food plane says, "Good morning, Dr. Vibe. DS here." He also says hello to Serena. Serena says, "Proud to be 50. 1975, proud to be 50." She also says, "I had eczema since I was small all the way through my 30s. It was very bad as a child." Wow, Serena, man, you are what an incredible man. Serena Wills is an incredible story, family. When she comes back on later this month, you got to tune in. Food Plane goes, "It's amazing how far awareness of celiac disease has come. It used to be so underdiagnosed. Now it's at least part of the dietary conversation." Food Plane also says, "Wow, the body is amazing." And also says, "It's unfortunate how expensive gluten-free alternatives are. Safe food shouldn't be a luxury for people with a medical condition." He also says, "She rocks." And also says, "I agree." And then we had there. Well, you haven't talked about gluten-free yet, but he has a question about gluten-free. So we'll save that for a little bit. I also have, then how is celiac disease diagnosed, and why is it often misdiagnosed or missed entirely?
Okay, should I answer that?
Yes, you are the expert. I'm just the guy.
Well, the thing is that you have to, if you're experiencing some of these symptoms, they're usually written off because you could be asymptomatic. You might not even really be showing a lot of these symptoms that, you might not be having the rashes. Plus, and by the way, although celiac disease is somewhat new, so this is like doctors aren't right away recognizing all the symptoms. And when you say, "I have diarrhea or constipation, or I have some rash on my skin," doctors aren't very good dermatologists, right? They're not always able to tell, is this eczema? Is your liver backed up? They might send you to a dermatologist, but the problem is not your skin. The problem is your intestinal tract. Most skin disorders are trouble with digestion and the liver. But so you would be showing a few of these signs, and the pieces wouldn't be coming together until it gets so severe where you're like, "You know what? I have this bad brain fog. I can't think. I can't function every time I eat bread." And then if those conversations happen with your doctor, they have to send you for the IgA testing. So they're not always going that route right away because they're writing it off for, oh, maybe you have some slight IBS, or maybe you're just tired. They're not always doing those testing right away because these symptoms are common symptoms of just, everyday bad diet.
Wow. All right. Let me see if I have anything else. What's happening in the body when someone with celiac disease consumes gluten?
So what happens in the body when you consume gluten and you have celiac disease, automatically your immune system creates a response to inflame all the tissues in your intestinal tract. So that's your body's response. That's what the IgAs are doing. And it's not a correct response. They're saying this gluten, oh, we have to inflame the tissues in your small intestinal tract. We have to literally kill the cells that are absorbing nutrients. Like your body just fights against you. causing tons of inflammation. And when you're inflamed in the intestinal tract, your body gets inflamed everywhere else. Your bowels are moving. Your bowels can even get stuck. Your body can create, try to water down your bowels and just to let them loosen out of your system, and you have diarrhea. Then you get dehydrated in other areas. So it's ultimately this inflammation of tissues that happens in your small bowels if you consume gluten. And then energy drains, brain fog occurs, rashes can start happening on your body. It's horrible. And the reality is that gluten is airborne.
Oh.
That's why here at the Energy Shack and Whisk Gluten-Free Bakery, we are 100% gluten-free dedicated facility. I can't bring in even oats that have gluten because they're airborne. So all of my gluten-free bread could then have gluten because something gluten was beside it. So that's the trouble for celiac. Even a little ounce, half an ounce, a millimeter, a few pinches of gluten in their body is going to create that response. So it's a very painful, and as our friend said, it's quite painful as a person with celiac. You can't even go to a regular bakery and they say, oh, we have regular muffins and gluten-free muffins. Well, if they were baked in your kitchen where you were kneading the same bread, or you were mixing wheat in this bowl, even if they never touched each other, gluten is airborne. So
wow.
Oats don't have gluten in them naturally. But because they're beside so many wheat fields, now we have to get gluten-free oats. They never used to have gluten in them, but now they have gluten in them because gluten's airborne. So if someone is going to, grow oats or have grains, they have to be certain number of literally miles away from wheat fields, oat fields, so that it's not transported by the air into their products.
Okay, one of our producers has a question for you. In what way is it airborne? Does it travel like dust, or is it like some peanut allergies where it's more the smell?
No, it travels airborne, kind of like dust.
Okay.
Yeah. So to say that you aren't, like, for instance, if someone opens up some peanuts and I'm around and I have an allergy, I can have an anaphylactic attack. But if you're eating bread beside me, I'm not, and I'm a person who's gluten, unless that crumb of bread actually comes on me, it's not likely I'm going to breathe it in. So the particles aren't prevalent like they are with peanuts. And so you can walk around the world and be fine, even if there could be possibly, there's not going to be a lot of gluten in the air, but it will come into the crops. And again, I'm not going to pretend I know all this science about it, but somebody who's celiac can freely walk around the earth. But somebody who has nut allergies, I mean, I've seen it happen. I've opened up a thing of almond butter and somebody's in the room and all of a sudden they can't breathe. They didn't even
Wow.
touch it. They just breathed it in. Yeah. So that's
Wow.
real for. So gluten is not that as airborne as the allergies that are in your nuts.
I love when Carolyn goes in. This is great. So comments here. Serena says, I used steroid creams for years. That's all we knew. And then also says, I have a non-celiac gluten sensitivity intolerance. I've been gluten-free for over 12 years now. And then Food Plane, when it comes to food, you are a force, my brother. So I'm going to give some questions. One of the questions you have is, how big of a risk is cross-contamination in restaurants for people with celiac? Are gluten-free menus really safe in most places?
So gluten-free menus are safe for people that have non-celiac gluten sensitivities. Okay, so that means that my body, like, I have a non-celiac gluten sensitivity. Actually, Dr. Vibe, so do you, and so does pretty much everybody listening, because we are all living in North America. I mean, unless you're not in North America, and we are all having glyphosate in our products. So that creates an issue. If I eat some regular bread that's made with wheat, I'm going to have bloating, I'm going to have swelling in my body. But my body's not going to inflame the tissues through my autoimmune, through my immune system. So someone who is celiac cannot go to a restaurant and choose to have their gluten-free options on their menu. You can't do that if you're celiac. You could go to a grocery store and pick up a label and it says gluten-free, and you should read on it, made in a gluten-free facility. It's wrapped, it's packaged, so now it's not going to cross-contaminate with other things. But so here in our bakery, you could buy a cupcake that's not wrapped or packaged. You can buy a cookie, you can get the loaf of bread that's not wrapped or packaged, because there's no gluten in this entire facility. That's not the case in restaurants. That's not the case in other bakeries. People that are gluten insensitive can have that, but not somebody who is celiac. So it's a very, it becomes, and as the food plane said, it's such an expensive disease. And that's why actually those who are celiac are fighting for the government to make some contingents on their taxes so that they can get some money back from having to buy gluten-free bread because they have celiac. Wow. So bread should be a staple that everybody gets. And, it's very difficult. I'm not going to take the credit because the owners who bought the company from did it, but it's very difficult to make gluten-free bread taste good. It's the gluten that makes the bread fluffy and delicious and yummy. You take that gluten out, it's very hard to make your bread rise. So it's really unfortunate that, I mean, truthfully, I eat gluten-free in a non-expensive way because I eat salads and fruits and nuts, seeds, and not even that much nuts and seeds, mostly beans through sprouting, which is like the cheapest way to consume your beans. So you don't have to buy all these gluten-free breads and gluten-free crackers and all of these things. You don't have to do that. But if you're going to, it's super expensive.
All right. Let's catch up. Way back when I was asking people to share where they were chiming in from. So I just want to share that right now.
I'm just going to, you go ahead and chime. I'm right here. I'm just going to check something.
Yes, I know. Well, I've been hearing bells and whistles and whole piles of things, and I put the wrong screen up. So here we go. Let me put up the right screen. It's been that sort of technical morning we've had this morning on the Dr. Vibe show, or the Morning Vibe. Okay, so here's the map today. So we got a number of people chiming in from the U.S., and we even have someone from Afghanistan who chimed in on the YouTube channel. So most of the people here we have from, I can tell that this one here is probably Ray McMillan because he's in Florida. We got someone maybe in the Texas. We got someone here. All right. So we are going to take that down. I've got another question coming up in a few minutes for the general audience. Let's see what's going on. Oh, when Carolyn comes on, it's always so. All right. Where do I want to go here? Okay, let's do this one. Why do you think the gluten-free diet has become such a popular trend, even for people without celiac disease?
Why has it become such a popular trend for those who are without celiac disease? So actually, since 2009, those choosing to be gluten-free has tripled.
Whoa!
So more and more people are choosing to be gluten-free, but they don't have celiac disease. So why is that? And it's simply because of this change that's happened. And those who are a little bit more in tune with their body, they're recognizing that every time I eat bread, every time I have pasta, I get bloated. So they're choosing not to have that. And you're seeing chickpea pasta and quinoa pasta and brown rice pasta on the market because the whole world, the whole North America has become intolerant to wheat. So it's just real for anybody who's living in America. Now, some people aren't going to feel it as bad as the others, but most everybody, nobody can digest wheat anymore. Yeah, because of glyphosate. It actually creates inflammation. It opens up your junctions. We're having leaky gut. It's leading to allergies. It's creating inflammation in all of your epithelial tissue inside your intestinal tract. You're not absorbing nutrients, and you're not showing any IgA markers for celiac. It's because the Roundup is inside the wheat kernel and literally creating explosions in your intestinal tract.
Wow.
Damaging everything in its path, including your probiotics, opening up junctions that shouldn't be opening, ruining your immune system, and damaging cells that are supposed to be absorbing nutrients.
This is serious.
It's so serious. Yes, it's so serious. Wheat is not food anymore. It's like 52 chromosomes now. Its original chromosomes used to be like 14. So they've genetically modified it so much that the body does not recognize wheat as food. Same with corn and same with soy, unless you get a non-GMO version.
Okay. Now, she finally takes a sip of water because she's been on fire as usual. Another quick poll for people who are watching on the YouTube channel, the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel. Do you know about celiac disease? Before you came into the show today, did you know about it? So if you did, press 1, then enter. If you didn't, 2 and enter. Not sure, 3 and enter. So we'll come back with that poll in a little bit. If you're watching on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, watching this live, 1, enter yes, 2, enter no, 3, enter not sure. Some questions here. Food plane is going in. All right, Food plane's a foodie. He actually makes food, etc. So he's asking, what's one of the biggest myths you encounter about gluten or gluten-free diets in your practice?
Yeah, so one of the biggest myths that I encounter is that when you see gluten-free products, that doesn't mean they're healthy. Yeah, so we seem to have this idea that gluten-free means healthy. But the manufacturers, I'm sure you can imagine, are reading the statistics. Oh, that since 2009, the amount of people that want gluten-free products has tripled. So yeah, people are catching on to that. Like Frito-Lay is catching on to that. They're making chips and crackers and all of these things that are gluten-free. They're still fried in oil. They're made with potato starch and rice starch. They're made with only fillers. They're not good for you. So gluten-free, same with vegan. Vegan doesn't mean healthy. It means no meat. It doesn't mean no sugar. It doesn't mean no oil. So that's one of the biggest things, is that gluten-free doesn't mean healthy. It means that there's just no gluten in the product.
Okay. Next question, Food Plane. What should parents be careful about if their child is diagnosed with celiac? Are there extra considerations for their growth and development?
Yeah, so they would notice, first of all, if you have a child that's celiac, you would notice that they're not growing the way that they should. They look malnourished. Their skin is a lot more pale. They're not gaining weight like they should because their intestinal tract is not absorbing nutrients. So it's really actually quite simple. Yes, unless you make it yourself, it can be very expensive to buy gluten-free snacks and foods for your children. But remember, nuts, grains, seeds, like millet, quinoa, buckwheat, these are all grains that are gluten-free. Rice is still the cheapest food in the world. So there is an inexpensive way to eat gluten-free, but you would have to do that, make a lot of the food yourself. But noticing that your child is malnourished, removing the gluten from their diet, and make sure you're not adding packaged gluten-free snacks instead. They need lots of nutrients, because just because you've removed the gluten for that day or that month, it doesn't mean their intestinal tract is healed. So they are just going to have trouble absorbing nutrients. So you want to make sure they have lots. Make sure they're eating their spinach. Maybe you even have to get them to drink a bit of vegetable juice here or there. But they need an extra amount of nutrients, and maybe they have to be on a supplement, a multivitamin for a while, but you don't want kids thinking that they're getting all their vegetables out of a pill. So make sure your child, as all children, are eating lots of their vegetables and some of their fruits and healthy grains. And they should be, if you've kept gluten out of their diet, they should be getting better quickly.
Okay, well done on that. Before we get to another question, one of the producers was good enough to share a story from CBC about living with celiac disease. So I just want to share it on the screen quickly, and I'll also share I'll share the link in the chat on most of the platforms. And the title of the article is "Living with Celiac Disease: When a Single Crumb Can Hurt You." Celiac is an autoimmune condition triggered by gluten, which is found in bread and many other products. I'll just read this really quick. I'm not going to read the whole thing. When Anna Mezcua, hopefully I got it right. If I got it wrong, it's my head, not my heart. Finally moved from Mexico to Canada in 2019. She never anticipated what soon would unfold with her daughter, Renee, who was just 5 years old. Quote, "We noticed that within a week, she started being always sick with a lot of fever. She couldn't stand up out of bed. She had lost a lot of weight." That the mother, there's some moving around going there. All right. And she goes, that was when she remembered a TV show she had watched that talked about celiac disease, and that then everything started to make sense. Since moving to Canada, the family's diet included more wheat products, which would trigger someone who has celiac. So, yeah, symptoms differ from person to person, according to Celiac Disease Foundation. Some common symptoms, and Calvin mentioned them: abdominal pain, cognitive impairment, migraines, fatigue, skin rash, joint pain, and vomiting. According to the foundation, celiac can also lead to long-term conditions such as heart disease, liver failure, small bowel cancers, and neurological symptoms. So I'm going to take that down. I'm going to put the link to this story in the chat. Another question, Carolyn, they got you today. You're on fire. So Food Plane says, are there any nutritional risks or deficiencies that can develop when people adopt a gluten-free diet without medical need?
Yeah, you won't if you're eating properly, and I believe that we should follow a plant-based gluten-free diet. If you're having, and again, if you want to book a consultation with me, I can go over more detail, but if you're eating properly, you're not missing anything so you're gluten-free. If you remember the word brow, BROW. So those are your barley, rye, wheat, oats, and wheat. Those are the grains that have gluten: barley, rye, oats, and wheat. So that's brow. So if you're avoiding those in your life, honestly, you're not missing out on anything. You still have millet, you still have quinoa, you still have buckwheat, you still have, you can do gluten-free oats if you want to. You have your sweet potatoes, you have your brown rice, your wild rice, all of your vegetables, all of your fruits. If you can do nuts, if not, your seeds. So you're not missing anything at all. You will be deficient in nothing if you eat a whole foods plant-based diet. If you eat meat in your diet, you get other nutrients. But I prescribe a whole foods plant-based gluten-free diet. And none of my clients, including myself, is deficient in anything. So you're on mute, Dr. Vibe.
It's been one of those mornings. Okay, Food Plane also asked, the gluten-free label seems to be slapped on everything now. Even that never had gluten to begin with. Definitely confusing for consumers.
Yeah.
Also, he also asked, as a professional chef, I had to learn a bit about that and other allergies. Ray McMillan, our good friend says, I find gluten intolerance thing quite confusing. I grew up in a vegetarian environment from childhood, and gluten was one of the things that was consumed in larger quantities. What changed?
Yeah, so Ray McMillan, I joined in my teens, I joined the Adventist church, and they would actually take wheat and like turn it into dough and then wash that in water until all the starch came out and all you were left was this piece of gluten. And you chop that up and fry that up and it tastes just like chicken. So this used to be a healthy way to get extremely high protein in your diet. But unfortunately, because as I mentioned, since 1972, changing from DDT, which is very toxic, to Roundup.
Okay, I think we may have lost Carolyn for just a moment. I know she'll be back, so I'm just going to do this till she comes back on, and we'll make that happen. All right. And what we've got going on, yeah, there's a this is why, again, I love have Carolyn on the show. She goes all in. Keep the questions coming. Serena Wills, I saw that you put up a comment saying about you didn't see that poll. It is there if you're watching on the YouTube. All you need to do, Serena, is just put 1. So do another post or comment, put 1 and enter, and you'll come up on the poll. So just press 1 and enter, and you'll pop up. And I will show the poll. Some of you have partaked, which I appreciate. And what we'll do is just show it up for you right now. All right. So right now, 86% say they didn't know about celiac disease, and 14% no, I did not know. So, or not sure. Let's put it that way, not sure. And I'm getting a real education here this one because she is back. Yay!
Yeah, I've had to come on my phone. My battery's been saying that it's dying for the last hour in the show, and it's plugged in, so not sure.
Tech support.
It's a tech support, yeah, but it's okay. I'm back on my phone.
No problem. Hey, you're worth the wait. Let me ask you, is there any harm going gluten-free, even if you don't have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity?
I hate to say it, but I recommend the whole world needs to be gluten-free. No, that's not true. The world doesn't need to be gluten-free. They need to be wheat-free.
Ah.
Yeah. So if you don't have issues, if you are not celiac, you can probably naturally enjoy oats, rye, barley, but wheat is the problem. So it appears that you have this non-celiac gluten sensitivity, but most likely you have a wheat sensitivity. But because your body doesn't digest wheat very well, it's recognizing it doesn't like the high amounts of gluten that is in our wheat now. And whenever you eat gluten, you might not feel so great, but it's not a celiac thing. So the whole world, well, the whole American world needs to avoid wheat in order to have good digestion, optimal health, and no inflammation.
Why the American world, not the Canadian world?
Because the FDA laws we're in America. The FDA laws in Europe, and also, believe it or not, in China, are much more strict. Okay. Not even in India. The wheat is genetically modified there as well. So where there's strict FDA laws about the glyphosate in the Roundup, and that's not in Canada and in the US, we do not have strict FDA laws. They allow so much. So wheat is non-digestible by human beings.
All right. Look who's in the house. Dr. Tachi says, hello all. Serena Wills says, it's always a masterclass with Carolyn Nicol. The food plane says, there she is, the one and only Dr. Tachi. We have to hail up Dr. Tachi because she's got a huge posse on there. She says hello to the food plane. Derek, what is up? Derek says hello to the food plane. Dr. Vibe Show and Dr. Tachi, good morning. Dr. Tachi says back to Derek, hey friend. Serena Will says, when I ingest gluten, I instantly, we lost her again. We lost her again. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. We are good.
I'm back. I'm back.
All right. Okay. Serena Will says, When I ingest gluten, I instantly know it happens with cross-contamination. It feels like I had a stomach flu for days. Dr. Tachi says, Dr. Tachi comes to and goes, American food is rubbish.
It's so bad.
And Serena says, hey, so are Tachi and Derek. Dr. Tachi, hey, Serena Wills, hey, sis. Cassandra, I will be contacting you today, by the way. Maybe another person that I may need to introduce you. She runs a black, let me get it correct. I'm just going to look quickly on my phone. She's involved with Black women's health. So that may be a person that may be a good person to share with you. You know what? And it's not in my phone, so it can't do anything. Okay, Cassandra, good to see you. I agree with everything you said. So you've got a fan club. Derek says, Serena Wills, good morning. Food Plate. See, Dr. Chachi's posse is here, right? Derek says, hello. Food Plane says, hello, Derek. And then we've got the Food Plane has, okay, so we've got hello, Derek. Food Plane has a question. Oh, no, before we get to the question, Cassandra says, awesome. So, yes, I'm looking forward to chatting with you today. Now, the Food Plane. Do you think traditionally fermented wheat products like sourdough are easier to digest for most people compared to modern bread?
A little bit easier to digest, but it's still going to create the same trouble. So we sell a gluten-free sourdough loaf here. And so the problem also is that, honestly, people with inflammation having fermented foods, it doesn't even do well with them. So I'm not a fan of taking the regular wheat that we have and turning it into anything. Fermenting it and making sourdough is not a good idea. So I unfortunately would disagree that would be a good way. Anything wheat is going to be trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the pesticides.
One of our producers says, thanks for this vast information. Just curious to ask your take on what some doctors say that people could get nutrients from whole grain wheat.
Right, because they're still in that 1980s, 90s mentality that you need whole grains in your diet, because they first of all, doctors had take nutrition as an elective. It's not part of their learning in their 8 years of school. But they learned from the food pyramid, and the food pyramid tells you to have whole grains. And that naturally in our mind, if you lived in the 80s or 90s, means whole wheat. But whole grains are grains in their whole state where they haven't been adulterated. So millet is a whole grain, quinoa is a wheat grain, buckwheat's a whole grain. So whole grains are important, but wheat cannot be in that picture anymore because of the amount of pesticides and what's in the pesticides with this glyphosate.
Okay. Question here from, we're so happy we're going to get through this, because there's been challenges all around the place. Cassandra says, where can I find that gluten-free sourdough?
It's here in Toronto.
Okay, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to do it. We're going to do it right now for you, right here. This is where you can find it. So all you need to do for you, Cassandra, phone 647-637-6755. That's the quick way you'll find out where you can get it. Correct?
That's perfect.
100%. All right. That's how you'll find out how to get that quick. All right. Now, man, Food Plane is back. Says, if pesticides are the issue, it raises questions about conventional versus organic wheat. But wouldn't that mean gluten isn't the real problem for many people? I'm curious.
Yeah, so that's a really good question. So unfortunately, because of Monsanto and what he did before Bayer purchased him, is he did an amazing job. I mean, not that it was good, of genetically modifying the wheat kernel and selling that to all farmers. Now, there is a farm in British Columbia that swears they have the non-genetic version of wheat. And I haven't tried it personally, but I know some of my gluten intolerant clients have, and they don't get those symptoms. So you'd have to be like, you'd have to have that original wheat kernel that you would have had that from before 1972. Because since then and leading up to now, all the wheat in America has been genetically modified. You unfortunately just can't get it anymore non-genetically modified unless you leave the country and you go to Europe.
Okay. Question for you. What's your end time? Because do you have a 10:30?
I do have a 10:30.
Okay.
So I'm sorry that I do.
No. We'll do one more question and then we'll start wrapping it up. So Derek asks, question, I've actually changed from wheat bread to honey oat bread or bread with grains. Is that able to work as well?
So if you read the ingredients on your honey oat bread, wheat is still the first ingredient. Don't be fooled by reading the title of the bread, multi-grain bread, 12-grain bread. Wheat is still the foundation, the staple, the recipe binder of all those grains. So no, unfortunately, that's not okay. I mean, even your white crackers, your Excelsior crackers, your regular pasta, like wheat is the foundation of all of these. So you have to look at your granola bars, all of this stuff. I'm telling you, unfortunately, I mean, I don't say unfortunately because I think it's wonderful, but eating a whole foods diet is what you need to do, where you're not taking things out of a package. I know bread is a staple for many people, but if you get in touch with me, want to do a consultation, I can show you how you can make your own simple bread that is also gluten-free and your body doesn't have trouble absorbing or digesting.
I would say, Derek, it's worth the investment, even like $49, and you're in the US, so it's less than $49.
Yeah, right.
So it's an investment. I know if you know Serena Wills or chat with her, she will tell you about the investment. Okay, let's do 3 more comments. Serena says, I went to South Africa for two weeks years ago and I ate well. My body could tell the difference. And when I got back to the States, there were certain foods I could not eat. My body was rejecting it. The food plane says, this has been great. Very valuable information that matters. Food plane, I would suggest, just out of curiosity, you should book a consultation with Carolyn.
Yeah, maybe we just need to have a question and answer time.
Yeah, and then Food plane says, wow, Serena, I love African cuisine. And she also says, yes, the food plane, amazing. All right. I think we're going to shut it down. There was some more things I want to ask. Maybe we'll do a part 2. But
Yeah,
well, I have a feeling because we didn't go as deep as I wanted to in the area of gluten-free. But we'll see with that. Any final words you would like to share with the family today?
I think it's just important that we look and read the packages from the foods we get. Just like our brother said, I'm having a honey oat bread. So you think in our mind, there's just honey and oats in here. There's absolutely not. There's actually more wheat than there is oats in that honey and oat bread. And there's so little honey, it's tasting sweet because they've added sugar. Sure. So we've become accustomed as consumers to not read our labels, and we have to read our labels. Just because something says gluten-free, pick up the package. Yeah. It probably, potato starch, rice starch, sugar, and oil. Well, that's not healthy. So, reading the labels is important. Anytime you're going to open up a package, you're always going to have a compromise in your health. Try to eat your salads, your cooked vegetables, your beans, your legumes, your fruits. Try to eat more whole foods. And those things just naturally don't have gluten. And just whenever you can, I challenge everybody to take, gluten sensitive or not, take a month break away from wheat. Just take a month break away from wheat. Try to reintroduce it back into your diet. And now your body will speak to you. You didn't realize how much trouble it was giving you before because there's so many other things going on. You think, oh, my stomach's just a little, I'm not sure what I ate. We don't even know. Take wheat out of your diet for a month. And if you want to, but reintroduce it back and see how your body feels. Our wheat is a mess in America. It's not food and we should not be consuming it.
All right. Dr. Tachi says Carolyn Nicol is bar none. I haven't heard that one before. Love it. And Serena Will says, facts, Soror Tachi. All right. This has been fantastic as per usual. Just want to make sure we give Carolyn her due. So again, there's the website, EnergyShackJuiceBar.com, email info at Energy Shack Juice Bar, Instagram at The Energy Shack Juice Bar, Facebook, Energy Shack Juice Bar, phone number 647-637-6755. If you have any questions for Carolyn, email her info at Energy Shack Juice Bar and say that you saw her in the Morning Vibe. Interesting fact, when I go into my parents' house yesterday, they have a little table just inside the door. What did I see on the table? Energy Shack cards, business cards.
Wow, that's so
all right.
beautiful.
Special offer if you want a consultation for $49 instead of $110. Email her and mention Dr. Vibe or the Morning Vibe. This is the website address if you want to book a consultation online. All that stuff is in most of the platforms that I host in the comments section. Carolyn, thank you so much.
No, thanks for having me. Thank you guys for
Always.
being so engaged, asking so many questions. Yeah, we might need a part 2 of this.
Yeah, I
whole
think
gluten topic
yeah,
is pretty in-depth.
I think we should do that.
Yeah,
that's just we'll chat offline. Have a great day. We'll talk.
Okay, God bless you guys. Thanks for having me.
Was that fire or what? Was Carolyn fire? What? All right, and so many great questions from everybody and contributions. So we're going to do some quick things. So first things first, want to show you the poll that we had there. You know, did you know about celiac disease before we came in the conversation? 23% yes, 69% no, 6% not sure. All right, and we're going to do another quick poll while we are on the go here. So bear with me a second, and we're going to have another quick poll here. But yeah, Carolyn was, and I think we need to do a part 2, just specifying just on the whole gluten-free. Absolutely need to do a part 2. All right, we're going to put this one up, and I'm doing this in real time here, family. And we're going to get your feedback on how you thought about today's show on a scale from 1 to 5. This is where people are watching live on the. Let's get that poll up. I'm going to do it in real time. Okay, we've got it. Just want to refresh, reset. Okay. We got it. The multi-purposing here. Here is our poll. Want to get your feedback if you're watching on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel. What did you think about today's show? 1 means it's 1 to 5. 1 meaning it was terrible. 5 meaning it was outstanding. So if you're watching on the Dr. Vibe Show YouTube channel, 1 enter, 2 enter, 3 enter, 4 enter. Would appreciate your feedback on that. All right, you see, we're already getting results in real time. This is amazing. Amazing. I think we have some. Okay. Oh, I see the Wallamala. Okay, Wallamala, I need a favor from you. You need to email me. Roger Dundas of Buy Blacks needs your email address to give you your winning from last Friday's show. I am glad you showed up for today. Okay, a few you ain't behaving here. But no, I see a lot of 5s. Beautiful. So Derek, don't push 555, just push 5. Okay. But Wallamala, I am glad that you've come on. Can you please email me the Wallamala, please? Roger Dundas is after me trying to get your contact information so he can give you that gift certificate for the restaurant that's out east, the pop-up. So I'm glad you came on. Oh, wow, even David Wilson is here. David, I'm going to email you today, but David, I'm going to send you an email. What is your availability tomorrow? What is your availability tomorrow? So you know what? You're watching me live right now. Email me and tell me what your availability is tomorrow. So you're reading my alleged mind. We need to catch up tomorrow. Lots of things to catch up on. So that is great. All right. So I'll just put up the results. Share screen. Let's do it here. So this is fantastic. There we go. Everyone that's put in has put in 100%. Thank you so much. All right. That is great. And I would suggest and recommend a number of you may want to get in touch with Carolyn. And the consultation is well worth the investment, especially, again, if you're living in the U.S. So $49 Canadian is, I'm going to use my calculator right now. Oh, just give me a second here. Oh, come on. Let's get this. You're getting a real deal. Times 35%. You'll be getting a consultation for about $30. $30. Okay, so David, you're wide open. All right, I'll email you today, David, and we can set something up for tomorrow. Appreciate that. Lots of comments. Why? Serena says, it truly is. Please book a consultation if you haven't. Yeah, really and truly, I would highly recommend it. And she's helped me and continues to help me, and she is really, really on it. All right, let's wrap it up. Subscribe to the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube and hit the notification button. We'd like to get to 1,890 subscribers. If we could do that by Friday, that'd be great. Follow the Dr. Vibe Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Join the Discord group. Email me at dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. Click on the link to join the group. That's another way. Advertise your business, product, or service on any of the platforms I'm a part of. There's my email address. What else do we have? Oh, get in contact with Ryan Oneil Knight, and that's Knight with a KN, not an N. LinkedIn, Ryan Oneil Knight. Instagram at ryan.knight99. Email address, work with me at ryanoneilknight.com. Website, you can get a hold of me at the Dr. Vibe Show website, YouTube and Facebook and LinkedIn, the Dr. Vibe Show, Instagram at the Dr. Vibe Show, X at drvibeshow, email dr.vibe at the drvibeshow.com. I am on Substack live. I have to post the replays. So you go to drvibe.substack.com/subscribe and on Blue Sky at drvibe.bsky.social. And you can watch replays of this epic conversation on the Dr. Vibe Show on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, Afro Caribbean Business Network on Facebook, and Ryan Oneil Knight YouTube. That's a wrap. Fast. Wow, that was fast and furious. All right. That's it. Thank you for tolerating. We had some technical hiccups along the way on my end, on Carolyn's end, but we got it done. As I always say, sometimes you just got to look at don't get good, get done. On Friday, don't know what's coming up yet, but we will be broadcasting on Friday for 100% sure. All right. As always, live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get smaller, get stronger. Block assumptions, aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Don't just manage your time, manage your energy. Remember to give yourself grace. And if you're not making money, make history. Try to do both and make it better. God bless. Peace be well. Keep the faith, walk good. And we will see you on these digital streets. Be well.
This whole thing of using your business with plant-based products, don't you think your life should reflect that too?
Juke him, Carolyn. Juke him. The family loves us here because they're saying Fitness IQ Can says put a wig on to get in.
Oh God! Oh my God!
Like the ideas are just coming fast and furious here this morning. What? Okay, look at this. Global Women Ambassador. Good morning. Look forward. Okay.